Hold up. Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play the roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet.
Welcome back, y'all. This is the Double M Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jesus Dinero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
Max Kellerman coming out with some disappointing comments at the Canelo and Crawford presser. Let's talk about it.
And then Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter in my lifetime. He built an institution. You know why boxing's not as popular as it used to be anymore, right? UFC is really popular. That's because of Dana White. He built something like the NBA.
Listen, man, we were talking about recording our final review of the Canelo Crawford card. Of that, my buddy here was showing me a couple clips of the presser. Obviously, there's a couple different things that different people said. Dana White, Max Kellerman, Turkey, the fighters themselves, so on and so forth. And listen, I have been a fan of Max Kellerman for a long time. For a very, very long time, I felt that Max Kellerman was really the only guy giving unbiased takes in boxing. Even if he liked a particular boxer, he would give an unbiased take and say, hey, look, even though I like this guy, I think he's going to lose, so on and so forth. That being said, this is the first time that I'm truly disappointed in Max Kellerman. Him basically saying that Dana White is the best promoter in his lifetime when it comes to combat sports, that he's going to basically make boxing like the NFL and the NBA and blah, 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 blah. I shouldn't have to tell Max Kellerman this. Do you really support a man who wants to repeal the Ali Act, the greatest boxer of all time, the GOAT, an act specifically named after the man because of his contributions to the boxing game? Are you telling me you really want to support that, Max Kellerman? And listen, I'll be honest with you, that video pissed me the fuck off because this is bullshit. I don't care what anybody says. One of the things that Max Kellerman said in the video is that, boxing's not as popular as it used to be. UFC is super popular. Wrong. You know why Dana White's so interested in getting away from pay-per-views? Because his pay-per-view sales has been down. I don't want to hear none of that shit about it's so freaking popular, because it's not. It was at one point, but it's no longer the case. Now that they've made it to the big time, they've run into the same problems that all the boxing promoters run into, where a number of different individuals just don't break over to superstardom, like the Mayweathers of the world, like the Conor McGregors of the world, like the Canelos of the world, the Oscar De La Hoyas, the Mike Tysons, so on and so forth. Sure, the UFC has stars, absolutely, but on the same level as the Mayweathers, the same level as the Canelos, the same level as the Oscar De La Hoyas and such? Nope, not even close, buddy. Hate to tell you that. So listen, I'm truly disappointed in Max Kellerman because I don't care. Listen, I understand there has to be a little bit of glazing. The promoters, Dana White, you have to glaze them a little bit. Respect. If you were to say something like, I'm very proud to be working with Dana White, okay, understandable, happens. Even though it may not be the truth, I understand that you gotta say it. But to say this man is the greatest the greatest combat sports promoter of all time, to say he's gonna create the equivalent of an NBA and NFL. Let me ask you a question, Max Kellerman. If he's really going to make the NBA or boxing like the NBA and the NFL, are the boxers going to be getting paid the exact same amount of 50% of the total revenue like NBA players and NFL players do? Because I highly doubt that's the case. How do I doubt that's the case? Well, gee, let's take a look at the way UFC is done. It's reported that the UFC pays at max, even their highest top-rated stars, a whopping 7% of the total revenue. And guess who gets to keep the rest of the money? Gee, I wonder who. Is it going to be similar here with the NFL or NBA equivalents in the boxing world that Dana White's trying to correct? I wonder why they want to repeal the Ali Act. Listen, it's bullshit that I shouldn't have to school someone like Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman, to me, for a long time, he's a great historian, true lover of the boxing game and the such. So to hear this man say this type of comment and disappointing rhetoric towards someone like Dana White, that's sad. And here's the thing. You want to say, oh, man, you're being dramatic. Go watch the damn presser. I wasn't there, but people were booing the shit out of it. It's bullshit for someone like Max Kellerman to sell himself like that. This is Max Kellerman selling out. Again, I understand. We have to, when you're working with someone, to a certain degree, you have to glaze them a little bit. I understand that. I respect that. I have no problem with that. It's part of doing business. But this man is saying he's going to create an NBA, NFL-like position promotion in the boxing world, I guarantee you they ain't gonna be getting paid NBA, NFL money, because we've seen what he does with UFC. And listen, you want to say, hey man, it's just part of the business. You know what you're signing up for? Okay, so what you're telling me is the people that go out there and put their health on the line, they deserve to get less money than a guy that's reportedly in debt with a lot of the casinos in Vegas. That's reportedly, by his own admittance, mind you, going out there and, doing $1 million a hand, $2 million a hand, $3 million, whatever it may be, thousands and thousands of dollars. The salary of a lot of these UFC fighters in one hand, that's y'all got? That's your man? That's who you want to be leading this NFL, NBA like? Dana White wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for the UFC fighters. They're the ones that put their body on the line. They're the ones that actually go out there and risk not just injury to their life, because you could potentially die. It's happened in boxing. It's happening in MMA fights. But apart from that, risking long-term damage, mentally, brain damage and such, I reference you, BJ Penn, and what's going on with the poor brother right now. So I don't want to hear none of this shit from the Max Kellerman. And again, I shouldn't have to be the one saying this to Max Kellerman. He's a student of the game. He's a historian, a boxing historian. He should know better. And I'm truly disappointed that Max Kellerman is saying stuff like this. It's sad. He pointed this out, that we're on the side of Paulie Malignaggi, of all people, who I have vehemently disagreed with plenty of times on this channel. But we're more aligned with Paulie Malignaggi than we are with Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman should do better. Truly disappointing. What do you think about that, my man?
It truly is disappointing, considering that like you said, Max Kellerman is a student of the game. This man's been at it since the 90s, the early 2000s, the 2010s. The fact that this man actually made songs referencing boxing a lot, you can tell that this man poured his heart into boxing. And now he's out here saying that UFC is bigger than boxing. To which, why are you promoting UFC to a boxing crowd? That's the part that I don't exactly get about that. All right. If you truly believe, Max Kellerman, that UFC is bigger than boxing, why are more and more MMA stars trying to get into boxing? We saw with Francis Ngannou in the two fights that he's been in. He's only been in 2 fights in boxing, period. He made more in those 2 fights than he did his entire career in the UFC. One of the biggest promotions that Dana White has been a part of, half of it was boxing. Conor McGregor made as much money as he did. And guess what? Most of that was because of his fight with Floyd Mayweather. If you want to say, oh, Conor McGregor is one of the top UFC stars, like, yeah, guess what? Part of that was because of his boxing fight. Wouldn't have made nowhere near as much money if he just stayed in the UFC. If that's the case, why are you trying to promote a UFC promotion at a boxing event? That's the part that I don't exactly get about that. And the thing is, if Max Kellerman is a student of the game, and I have no doubt that he is, does he not think allying himself with somebody that wants to repeal the Ali Act, something that brings about a lot of transparency, giving fighter pay? And how does he not see that parallel with Dana White basically becoming who managed Mike Tyson for a long time? Don King. How does he not see Dana White and see a mirror image of Don King? And to be honest, if the Ali Act does get repealed, guess what? Dana White is going to make Don King look like small potatoes, because Don King had a handful of fighters that he hid a bunch of money away from. Basically took as much money as he could, as sneakily as he could, away from these fighters. You can talk about Mike Tyson all you want, about getting paid millions. He was getting paid peanuts when he was under Don King, and Don King made sure of that. But the problem is Don King only had a handful of fighters. Dana White has an entire league, an entire litany of fighters that this could happen to if the Ali Act gets repealed. And Max Kellerman allying himself with someone that will want to do something like that? Ridiculous. Dana White is going to make Don King look like small peanuts if the Ali Act gets repaired. And Max Kellerman allying himself with that? Disgusting.
Listen, man, I was very against the pushing out of Max Kellerman out of a lot of the boxing commentary that he had for a very long time. Because, again, for a long time, I did feel like Max Kellerman was truly unbiased. Even though sometimes he didn't necessarily like a boxer, he was very honest about their credentials, about their skills, about their acumen, all that kind of good stuff. So to see Max Kellerman fall so far, I don't know if he's doing it for a job. I don't know if he's doing it because this is probably more than likely the biggest payday he's gotten in quite some time. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But to see this happen, and again, it's not just my opinion. Listen to the damn presser. He was being booed when he was saying this stuff. And I want to point out something. The hero in this particular case right now, Canelo stood up and said, You're tripping, Max Kellerman. He said, boxing only gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And he was cheered for this.
You want an NBA or an NFL in boxing? Here it comes. Because he knows how to build an institution. And how do you do that?
Hey Max. Boxing is always bigger and big. Don't say boxing is not big enough. Boxing is big. You know how big is boxing.
Should it get bigger, yes or no? Should it get bigger, Canelo?
Maybe it's gonna be bigger, but look, boxing is always big and big and bigger and bigger and bigger. We need to talk about that too.
Why are we talking about the UFC at a boxing presser? Especially when, by all accounts, Dana White's trying to get out of it. He's talking about actively making a league in boxing. So why is the UFC even a thing? It's pathetic that Max Kellerman has fallen so low. And I'll be honest with you, as someone who grew up listening to Max Kellerman and his boxing commentary, the things that he pointed out that a lot of other people didn't see while it was going on in the ring, I thought it was phenomenal to see the man at work. He pointed out things that I didn't see, that other people didn't see in the moment. He pointed out, if a fighter looked particularly fatigued in a certain way that maybe other people didn't see, if a particular punch landed a little bit more crisp than someone else didn't, that other commentators didn't notice. All of these different things that I truly admire about Max Kellerman, and it's sad to see him piss them away for one particular individual, Dana White. It's sad. I'm truly disappointed. I'm not lying. When I saw this video, we originally weren't even going to talk about this particular thing. We were going to talk about just the Bud Crawford and Canelo fight. But to see this, I had to talk about it. It's bullshit. It's sad that it had to go this way. I'm truly disappointed in Max Kellerman. As a historian, as a boxing enthusiast, as someone who's dedicated his life to the game, someone like Max Kellerman, he should know better. Especially when you're aligning with someone that wants to repeal the Ali Act, dude. What the hell is wrong with you? I'm pissed off, man. That's some old bullshit. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.